Hello everyone and welcome to today's profile webinar. We're going to dive right in on today's topic. Today we'll be covering the relatively new eSignature feature, which is an integration of DocuSign and Adobe Sign into ProFile. Both are platforms that allow you to send documents to your clients to get signatures. Okay, so first of all, let's talk about this electronic signature integration with ProFile. Now, collecting electronic signatures is not all that new. DocuSign and Adobe have been around now for many years as a tool for many in many industries to be able to collect signatures from their clients virtually. In the past, you would have had to export your documents from ProFile and then upload them to your preferred electronic signature platform and then send them out to your clients. So what we've done now is remove a few steps by integrating two of the more commonly used platforms into ProFile. With DocuSign and Adobe integrations, you can continue to use your preferred platform, but save yourself some time as the integration allows you to send documents to your clients to collect signatures on forms and documents. ProFile will then display the documents on the client's dashboard, so you don't have to track individual emails or files. It's important to note here that collecting e-signatures is not a mandatory requirement of CRA. You can definitely collect signatures the old-fashioned way. And so because it's not a CRA requirement, this is something optional that you can use to streamline your business. And there are separate fees associated with both third-party applications. Now, this video isn't sponsored by Adobe or DocuSign, but you will notice that I use DocuSign today in all of my demos. That's because DocuSign has a free 30-day trial and my trial is still active. My Adobe 7-day trial has already expired. However, no matter what platform you use, the integration steps are the same for both, so we can make it work today. Okay, so just to give you a quick overview of what we'll cover today, first off, we'll make sure you're on the most up-to-date version of ProFile. It's just some basic housekeeping. You want to make sure that you're on the most recent version so you have all the most up-to-date forms and features. And then I'll show you how to access some of the resources in case some of you are more interested in step-by-step instructions. Actually, you know what, I might leave that to the end. We'll cover the setup and integration of eSignature first, and then I will show you how to send and receive the default forms, as well as any additional forms or documents you want to send to your client. And then we'll look into the client's experience and we'll go over what it looks like for coupled or family returns as well. And then see how the feature works in the different modules. So if you have the ProFile license for T2, T3, and FX. Okay, so first and foremost, to ensure your ProFile version is up to date, you're going to click on the Online tab and then go down to Check for Updates. If your version is up to date, you're good to go. If not, you'll just follow the prompts to download and install to update your version. Okay, so again, if you're not on the most recent version, just go ahead and let that run in the background and you can follow along with what I'm doing on my screen. So the first step to setting up the eSignature connection is to sign into your ProFile online account. To do this, click on the Online tab again, and this first option here, if it says sign out, you're good. It means you're already signed in. If it says sign in, then go ahead and click on it and sign in. If you don't have an account, you can sign up and create a free account. But if you've used any other Intuit products, such as QuickBooks Online or TurboTax in the past, you probably already have an Intuit account, and so what you can do is you can sign in using that, or click Forgot Your Password, and you can actually go ahead and reset your password. But once you're signed in, you're going to go over to the File menu option, and then down to eSignature. So I'm just going to sign out. So So I can walk you through the steps. So you're going to go over to the File menu option down to eSignature, and then you'll see the Connect option. So go ahead and click on that. Now in this window, you'll be asked to connect to either your DocuSign or Adobe accounts. So whether if you're using DocuSign or Adobe, you would click on one of the two options here on the left. Now, just remember, with this integration, you will need a DocuSign or Adobe account to use the features within ProFile. So under both DocuSign and Adobe tabs, you'll see a hyperlink that you can click. If you don't have an account, you can click here to get one. So basically, you can sign up for a free 30-day trial to DocuSign, no credit card needed, or a 7-day trial with Adobe. For that, a credit card is required, but you'll have free usage up for 7 days. So as I mentioned, I have a DocuSign trial active, so I'm going to go ahead and connect to that. Okay, and then once ProFile is connected, you can just go ahead and close this tab and go back to ProFile, and here you'll see shortly that DocuSign and ProFile are now connected. So I see the disconnect option, and then my account is showing up here as well. So now once you're connected to DocuSign or Adobe, if you go back to the File menu like you saw earlier, under eSignature, you will see Collect eSignature or Dashboard. So before you're connected, you'll only see one option. It says Connect. And then once you're connected, you'll see Collect eSignature and the Dashboard. And then once you're connected, if you're looking to disconnect from Adobe Sign or DocuSign, you'll just go back to the previous window. To get there, you go to Options and then down to Integration. And this opens up the window again for you to disconnect. Okay, now before we get into the next steps, I just want to go over a few other things. So on the T183, it's important to note here that if you're getting the T183 electronically signed, so this top question here that says, did the taxpayer electronically sign the T183? If you have yes checked here, you'll notice that at the bottom, CRA has made it mandatory that you also include the timestamp. If you have it selected as no, you don't need the timestamp, but if you you can definitely enter it, but if you have yes selected and you don't fill in the timestamp, you'll actually get an e-file error when you try to e-file the return. So just be sure when you're sending these documents through DocuSign or Adobe Sign, you will have this checked off because you've electronically signed them. But when you check off yes here, you have to get that timestamp from the customer or from your client. So in order to get that, there may be one additional step that you need to take in order to set up the time and date formats in DocuSign and in Adobe Sign. So I'm just going to open up my DocuSign and just quickly show you. So once you're signed in to whether you're using DocuSign or Adobe Sign, there should be some sort of settings for the formats for date and time. So for DocuSign, again, you'll go into the Settings tab, and then over in the left-hand menu, you'll click on the signing settings and then scroll down to document formatting. And here you want the date format and time format to match what is on the CRA form. So the CRA form requires year, month, date, and then hour, minutes, and seconds. So those are the two that I'm going to select. So year, month, date, and then hours, minutes, and the seconds. So I'll select that, and then you'll go ahead and save that. I haven't made any changes, so that's what you'll have to do. Again, in Adobe Sign, it should be something similar. You just want the date and time formats to match what is on the T183 forms. Okay, so now that we have our platform set up and the settings in place, we can go ahead and send documents to our first client. So we have two ways to, you'll open the return first of all for the client, and then on the info page, so there's two ways of providing the client's email. One is to enter it on the info page in the email address field here. But as many of you know, the black box here beside the email address field indicates that the email address will be remitted to CRA when you e-file. So if in the odd chance you have a client who doesn't wish to share their email with CRA, then you may leave this blank and then enter it or edit the email in the next window. So from here you'll go, if you don't put in an email, let's put in an email just to show you. Let's just leave it at that. So you would put the email and then you would go to File, down to eSignature, and then Collect eSignature. And then you just click out of this field and then go back. Okay, so you notice that the email address here, it's there, whatever I entered here, but it's incomplete. So I need to edit that. So you don't double click on the email itself because that won't do anything, but just in the blank field here, just double click and you'll get the edit window. So here you can enter or update the email address. So it's a single recipient, so you'll see a single email address here, and then below in the attachment section, you'll see the default forms are already selected, and then any additional forms that you wish to add, you would need to save them as a PDF first on your computer and then upload them here into this window using the ellipses over to the right here. And then you can go ahead and select forms. I have an engagement letter for my client, so I'm going to go ahead and attach that. So I have the PDF saved, and I want her to sign the conditions here before we initiate our engagement, so or our services with her. So I'm going to go ahead and open that. And then down below, I can edit the subject. I'm going to put, please sign your tax documents for tax year 21. And then this will save for all future clients, the subject and the message below. Whatever you put in here, it's sort of generic and it will carry over to your other clients. So you don't have to keep updating this for every client. And then for the message, you can go ahead and put in your name or your contact number. Your email or whatever you prefer, again, in this field. And I'm just going to go ahead and send that to DocuSign. We have everything set up here. If there are, if you don't attach that engagement letter or any of your additional documents in that first transaction or that first email to them, you can always come back to the eSignature or the DocuSign integration and send those documents at a later time. But what this did is now it's just opened up in DocuSign, and just like you have your client in front of you and you tell them where to sign, like you do in person, what you're going to do in DocuSign or Adobe Sign is indicate the fields that you need their signatures. So with DocuSign, you have the options on the left-hand side. I believe in Adobe Sign, they're on the right-hand side. But if you've used either of the two softwares before, then you're already familiar with that. So again, wherever the fields are, you're going to take the signature option and then just click and drag it over. So I need a signature here, and then I need a date here. So I'll put that in there. And then scroll down to, scroll down. And then I need a signature here, and I need the date here. I'm just going to move it over so it doesn't get cut off, because this date format, remember we put in the full date and then we also added the full timestamp. So I just want to make sure none of that gets cut off. So I'll just put that in over here. And then I need one more signature here. So you just want to make sure that the arrow and the line are kind of aligned with the line that's on the form itself. And then just go through the form, make sure you haven't missed anything. I do want a checkbox here, so I will just do that. And then once you're done, once you've checked over all the fields, go ahead and click send. You have a send option at the top, in the top right, and then the bottom right as well. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and send that off. Okay, so I'm just going to close out of all this, and then I will show you what the client receives. So I use my own email, and this is the email that the client would receive. This is what it looks like. This is what we put in as our subject up here, and then our message shows up like this. And then, so the client will see this, they'll click on Review Documents. It will open up like this for them. And then they will just click Continue. If they don't have, if they haven't used DocuSign before for any other corporation or any other business, they will have to set up their signature and I believe their email preferences and stuff like that. But pretty much they'll come in here, click continue, and then when they click start, it will guide them to the signature spots, so where their signature is required, and the date and timestamp will come in together like this automatically. So I'm going to go ahead and click sign, so adopt and sign, and then right here and right here. And then I had to check this off and just want to make sure. So yeah, the timestamp kind of comes like this. It's very long. So again, you want to position it so that it doesn't get cut off. But this looks good to me. So your client will do this and then go ahead and click finish. And then once they're done that, they will get an email copy of all of their signed documents, and you will also get notified when the client has completed the documents. So when they are available to you, what you'll do is go back to ProFile and then open up the client's File, and then go to File and down to eSignature, and then here we'll click on Dashboard. So you'll see here all of the forms and letters that you've sent to your customer to get them signed. So you can open them from here. And one more thing to note, so the dashboard is designed to show you documents for the clients whose return you have open. So you don't need to scroll through a number of different documents or forms for different clients. So this just makes it a little bit easier. And then what you can do here is just double click on any of these forms, or you can click download here. I'll just show you how that looks. So I've received the client letter and it's signed as such. And so what you can do is go ahead and save all of these documents for your records. The final step for this is to take the date and timestamp from the T183 that came back signed from your client, and then you will go to the T183 form in ProFile and then just enter in that date and time to match exactly what's on the form here. So go to 23. Okay, and that is it. Just a reminder, like you'll need to remember to do this before you e-file, especially if you have selected yes here, because otherwise you won't be able to e-file the T183. You'll get an e-file error with that. Right, and then one more thing to note is that the documents that we saw on the dashboard, they will show there as long as they're still on your DocuSign or your Adobe account. If you delete them from DocuSign, the forms will no longer show on the dashboard under the File eSignature dashboard option here. So it would be a good idea to have a backup copy of these forms on your desktop or your hard drive because there's no backup actually stored in ProFile if they get deleted off of DocuSign or Adobe Sign. So that's it for single client returns. There was that little bit of setup initially, but going forward for all the other clients, it'll be much easier. And then when you get the hang of it, you'll know exactly what to do. You won't forget any steps. So it's pretty straightforward. Let's now move on to coupled or family returns. I'll show you a coupled return. Oops. Let's get her married. So one thing to note here is that each person in the family will need their own email address because the signatures in DocuSign and Adobe Sign, the signatures that you create, are actually linked to individual emails. So for each of your clients, they should set up their own email and their own signature associated with that. And then the other thing that you need to remember is, again, if you have the email here or not, it's not really a big deal, but it's good to put it in here. And then the other thing you have to do is open the T183. So if it's a coupled return or a family of 4 or 5, you would have to open each family members return, and then open the T183 for each family member. And then for each of them that are electronically signing it, you would select yes and make sure that the date and timestamp are showing like that. You've already set it up in your DocuSign or Adobe Sign, so you don't have to worry about anything else, but just open up that T183 form and make sure that this is selected, because if it's not, you don't get the you get the date already pre-populated, and when you send it to DocuSign, the date will already be there like that. So I mean, it's not necessarily a big deal, but if you don't want it there, if you want it to be accurate, you just want to select yes here. And then you would go to File and eSignature, and then collect eSignature. So on this page, we'll see one spouse, we'll see their email, and we see the T183 and the authorized rep form for that one spouse. If I need to add any other documents, I can click the ellipses here and select them. And then I can go ahead and do everything for John for one spouse individually, or I can opt to do it both at the same time. So one thing to note here, you'll get a pop-up to warn you as well, but if you do select both the spouses, it's important to note that each member of the family will receive all the documents that are selected. You can still control who signs what form, but if you upload like the T1 summary or another document where there might be some privacy concerns, you might want to keep that in mind. Some spouses don't want to share each other's return information with each other, or within a family, the parents might not want their children to see return information. So for whatever reason, just keep that in mind. So again, ProFile does prompt you to let you know before you do that. If more than one recipient is selected, they will receive all the documents. And then again, in DocuSign or Adobe Sign, you select who signs what, so there's no confusion there. It's just that the information is available to them if you do it together like this. So I don't really care with this one. It's only the T183 and the authorization forms, and it's just going to save me some time. So I'm going to select both spouses here. I'm going to go ahead and click OK. And then my email is still wrong, so I will double click there and update that. And then everything else looks fine. I'm going to go ahead and send that to DocuSign. And then here I will just indicate who has to sign what. So this is actually John. So in this field on the right-hand side, you can select the recipient, and they are color-coded, so it makes it a little bit easier. But this is John's form, and so the box I want to be blue. So that's the signature, and then I need a date. Then on this form, I need the same thing. And the same, so this is Sally's form. I'm gonna get Sally to sign this one, and so on and so forth. Okay, and then you're gonna go ahead and send this to the clients. And I will just show you in a minute what that looks like. Okay, so you're going to click Review Documents and go ahead and click Continue. So on here, you see that Sally will see John's information, but she won't have the option to sign it. So there's no confusion there. She just sees his form, all of his information and data. This is why I was mentioning the privacy concerns. So don't share anything that there might be a privacy concern over. So you don't even have to go through all of the forms. You just click Start and it will take her automatically to her signature areas based on the email that she's logged in with. Just has to sign those two things and then click Finish, and then both Sally and you will get an email when it's completed. Just want to stress this information one more time. So if you are sending sensitive information, it would be done as if you were doing a single taxpayer. So again, be cautious of what you're uploading manually. The T183 forms and the authorized rep forms are not super sensitive, but if you are uploading something manually, when you go to eSignature and collect signature, if it is for a coupled or a family return, don't check off the other spouse. Just do it as if you're sending it to one person as a single return. Okay. And then again, once you get both the forms from the client, once they're signed, you'll go into the dashboard and you'll see all of their signed documents, and then John still hasn't signed this document yet, so it's saying partially signed, but once they are signed, you will open up the T183 for both spouses and then fill in that timestamp and date that's required. And then one last thing that I want to mention is when we go here to the dashboard, we always have the client's file open, and then when we open the dashboard, we only see that client's files and their documents. So that's because, it's just easier for you. You don't have to look through multiple forms. But if you do need to see all the completed forms or, forms in progress, or you want to search by a client, you could use the filters on the DocuSign platform or the Adobe Sign dashboards itself. So that's another tool that you could use. But that's pretty much it. There's some initial setup like we mentioned, but the more you do it, the more you'll get the hang of it. And you're at an advantage already if you're already using DocuSign or Adobe Sign in your business. Okay, so now I just quickly want to show you the other modules. If your profile license includes T2, T3, and the FX modules, you'll also be able to use eSignature for documents there as well. So just to show you, I'll open up a T2 return. And it's the same thing. There's no email fields or recipient fields on the info page of these returns. So you'll just go to File, eSignature, Collect eSignature, and then just enter the email here. And then for the T2, there are some default documents that will show up here. You would need to update your subject or your message here if it's not generic enough for all the different modules. But yeah, you can do all the same things. The attachment ellipses box is here as well, so you can click on that and attach any PDFs that you might have. And then you send it to DocuSign. You do the same thing in DocuSign or Adobe Sign. You identify all the fields that need to be signed. You send it off to the recipient. It comes back, and then again, you will see it on the dashboard here. Okay, so that's a T2 return, and a T3 return is exactly the same, except there are no default attachments, so it would be whatever you need to send your client. You can go ahead and save that as a PDF. Again, your email can be entered here, and you can go ahead and send that off. And the FX module looks exactly the same. Okay, so there we go again. There are no default attachments, so you can attach whatever you need, enter your client's email, and send that off to them. Now, just to show you what it looks like to save a PDF. So say you have the engagement letter, or you want to send them, I don't know what else needs to be signed. Client letter. So you can, to save this as a PDF, you would click on this printer icon with a 1. And then here for your printer, you would just select any of your PDF printers. There's ProFile PDF export. If you have another PDF printer, you would select that and then go ahead and click OK and set your file location, and then go ahead and click OK. That's right, I already have this file. Let's put a 1 there. So you would see that here. So this is the PDF that you would then attach to the eSignature integration. So again, just to show you, you would go to File, eSignature, collect eSignature for Sally, and I don't need to send these now. I just need to send the new client letter. So there we have it. Go ahead and open that, and again, send it to DocuSign or Adobe Sign and select all your fields. The client will get the notification. Once they sign it, you will also get a notification, and then you'll see it in the dashboard that it's signed, and you can download it from there. All right, so that's basically it. I will show you how to get to the help article in the profile community. So you'll head over to profile.intuit.ca and then hover over the support tab here and then down to community and support. Click on that. It will take you to the profile community, and then here you just want to search get started with Adobe Sign or DocuSign. Use some of those keywords and you'll get to this article. So when you click on this article, you will see there are some frequently asked questions, so more information if you need. And then the step-by-step instructions for getting set up with Adobe Sign. If you expand the Get Started, there's screenshots for what it looks like when you're connected. So send to Adobe Sign, and then it shows you how to drag the signature fields in Adobe Sign. So again, if you need these step-by-step instructions at a later time, you can visit this article, and there is also information on DocuSign and how to get that set up. Okay, so here we talked about the time format, so that's mentioned on the article as well. So this is good to have for reference if you need it in the future. But that's it for today's webinar. Thank you all for joining, and have a wonderful day. Bye now.